Welcome to what has to be probably the first Q&A video that I've done in the last 2 months or so, with all of the questions, of course, being pulled from my Instagram, which you see on screen right now, SR4U_Josh. It's the first link down below. I'm going to answer questions that you guys asked me in a post that I made there, but if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in a potential future Q&A video, make sure you go and follow me on Instagram. Again, that is linked down below. Which brings us to the sponsor of today's video, which is the Car Problems YouTube channel. And yes, I'm allowed to sponsor my own videos. I checked. You don't have to go watch, but for those that don't know, I do have a car channel now on YouTube called Car Problems. You can check out the latest video by clicking the little pop-up in the corner of the screen. Check out some of the content on the channel. I'm basically uploading one video a week, but a lot of people watching the channel really seem to enjoy it. If you do end up being one of those people, please consider subscribing. I would really appreciate it. As for this Q&A series, for those that do enjoy it and want to see it continue, please support it with a like. It goes a long way. And if you're not subscribed to this channel already and don't want to miss out on new videos every single week on everything football boots, make sure you hit that subscribe button. What failed boot technology would you bring back and do better? Only correct answer is the zipper boots. This is a really good question, and I have a couple different answers to it. The number one thing that I would like to see back in football boots, mainly because I think it's just really cool, is carbon fiber sole plates. This ultimately ended up in being a fail for Nike. It wasn't at first because it generated a ton of interest. They were charging $400 for Superfly 2s as a regular model, not even a limited edition thing, and people were actually buying them because of how cool partially the carbon fiber sole plate was. But when Adidas in 2010 released the F50 Adizero and it was way lighter, way more durable, and cost literally half as much, it kind of proved at that point to everybody that maybe Nike was just overcharging and kind of overhyping the carbon fiber sole plate thing. Granted, this is now basically 10 years later, and I think that carbon fiber technology across the board has improved tremendously. So I would really like to see what Nike, or really any brand for that matter, could do with some serious carbon fiber technology on a football boot at this point in time. So that's number one. Also on the topic of Superfly 2, the Sense stud technology, those two front studs that you had that could basically retract or extend depending on the playing surface as you're actually playing. It ultimately didn't work that well because the studs barely moved at all. It's not something that was noticeable whatsoever, but I think that concept is really, really cool, and it could potentially have, I guess, some benefits in terms of creating more of a true multi-ground stud pattern, because that's very much a controversial topic in modern football boots right now, where obviously you have FG stud patterns as the most popular, you have your soft ground stud patterns, but then you also have AG stud patterns, which are a relatively new thing for the most part, because there are so many people playing on artificial grass. So if you had a Sense stud 2.0, let's call it, where the stud pattern could adjust specifically to the playing surface, I think that's something that could be really, really cool. What boots to wear for each position? For a striker, I'd probably go for Vans. In the midfield, where control would be really important, I'd probably go for something like some Crocs. For the center back, probably some Timberlands. Goalkeepers probably don't really need to wear shoes. And if you're sitting on the bench, I would probably go for like Yeezys or something. What's your workout routine? Now, for those that don't follow me on Instagram, which again is linked down below, specifically in my Instagram stories, I have been posting not all, but some of my workouts that I've been doing over the quarantine period, where the gyms are obviously closed. So I decided to buy some of my own gym equipment and basically build a gym in the middle of the SR4U boot room, which I realized was supposed to be organized by now, but the gym thing has kind of put that not on hold, but it's delayed the process, let's just say. So you guys will get to see the SR4U boot room completed, as well as the gym, as soon as I'm done organizing everything, which hopefully will be done within the next month or so. We'll see what happens with that. Either way, I've been posting some of the workouts that I've been doing, and I've been getting a lot of questions in regards to like if I follow a specific footballer's workout program or something like that. And the answer to that question is no. I'm not really doing football specific training at this point in my life, just because I'm not going to be a pro footballer, so it's not something that I really feel the need to do. But what I really do enjoy doing at this point in my life is just strength training in general. I enjoy lifting weights, and I enjoy kind of pushing my body and seeing what I am personally capable of. Because while there's a huge, I guess, muscle building strength aspect to weightlifting, I think that there's a huge mental aspect to it as well, which is something that I really enjoy about it. And again, I just kind of like the idea right now of trying to get as strong as possible, basically without hurting myself. So I'm not sure if this is the type of content that you guys would like to see on the actual YouTube channel. Again, it's only in my Instagram stories at this point in time. Feel free to check it out. But if it is something that you guys would like to see, let me know down below in the comment section. And just to give you guys an idea of what I've been doing, and also because I've been trying to do this for a very long time, so I figured I would show it to you guys on YouTube. Here is a deadlift PR that I just hit earlier in the week in my SR4U boot room home gym. Enjoy. Would SR4U laces fix my golf game? Most likely. Why do the brands change for the sake of change when there is no room for positive development? Now, this is a really interesting question slash topic that honestly I could make an entire video on alone, but I guess to give you a relatively shortened answer, I think that all of these big sportswear brands like to put out this image that they have the best interest of athletes or consumers in mind. And I think that is true only to a point, because while I think that a lot of these companies are legitimately trying their best to make the best possible products, certainly the designers are, I think you also end up with a situation here where you have to realize that all of these sportswear brands are companies that are in the business of making money. They're not charitable organizations. They're trying to make a product that is as good as possible and as exciting as possible in an attempt to sell it to you, the consumer. The more they can sell, the more money they make. So that is the ultimate goal when it comes to all of these sportswear companies, regardless of what they say. Whether or not that results in the best possible product, I guess that's a matter of opinion, because you always get something new coming out. Some people think it's better, some people think it's worse. There's a personal preference aspect to all of that. But in general, I think what's important about the modern day football boot market, and this is the case with pretty much all footwear and products that you can have regular new variations of, is that people are always being shown this stuff on social media, so things get older a lot quicker. They like to get excited about something new. So the more new product, new colorways, new models that these brands can put out, it's typically going to result in more hype, more interest, and hopefully in the long run for them, more sales as well. So even if you have a product that is a unanimous 10 out of 10, as soon as sales start to slow a little bit, which will inevitably happen over time when interest goes down because it's not the newest thing anymore, they're kind of pressured to a point to put out something new, regardless of whether or not it's better or worse, just because they want to maintain that level of sales or increase sales with, again, more interest around a new product. It's a very complicated topic to talk about, but I think you guys get what I'm saying here. Where do you see football boots in the next 4 to 5 years? This is a good question, and it's one that I don't necessarily have a great answer to, because I realistically don't think that 4 or 5 years from now, football boots are going to be completely different to what they are now. I still think that knitted and textile-based uppers are going to be very popular for the foreseeable future, but if I had to name a couple technologies that I could see kind of having a big impact on how football boots could change in the next 5 years, I think that 3D printed materials and or designs could potentially be a big thing. We're seeing more and more of that in sneakers. Also, Nike does have that kind of concept Air Zoom Mercurial thing that they showed a little while ago. Obviously, the current global situation has probably delayed that project ever so slightly, but eventually it's supposed to come out. It has a 3D printed aspect to it as well. But depending on how effective that Air Zoom technology is, that could potentially have a huge impact on Nike product going forward. And if it's popular enough, other brands will have to respond. So that could impact some kind of significant shift in the direction that a lot of brands are going in. And then the last thing that I think could potentially make a comeback is actually carbon fiber, because since we last saw it, I think carbon fiber technology has come a long way. And while it's always going to be a very expensive, kind of difficult material to work with, I think that there is potential for the return of that type of material in football boots again. And if done correctly, I think it could have some benefits in regards to performance, or at least features that would interest a lot of people and would spark change in the industry. Because that's what you have to realize here. It only takes one brand with one boot that becomes really popular with a specific technology, and basically everyone else is forced to copy or at least do something similar to maintain similar levels of interest. Who do you see being the next big star to replace Ronaldo in the Mercurial line? A Ninja Turtle. Do you leave any any extra space inside your cleats at the toe box, or do you wear them completely true to size? This is a question that I get a lot, and again, I think it really comes down to personal preference. In general, I would never recommend having a lot of extra space at the tip of the toe. That just means that your boots are too big, even if you're growing, because you have to come to the realization that modern day football boots are not going to last you for 3 or 4 years. So the likelihood that you are going to outgrow them before they actually need to be replaced is not that likely most of the time. So if you're buying boots, regardless of whether or not you're growing and you plan on playing in them right now, make sure that they fit you. I'm not saying that they need to be absolutely perfect with no extra room, but you never want anything too significant. My recommendation has always been pretty much a maximum of about half a thumb's width, and obviously everyone has different shaped thumbs, but you kind of get an idea of what I'm talking about. Very little extra space is necessary, because you have to realize as well that as you wear the boots in, regardless of what material they are, they're going to stretch a little bit, and it's going to allow for that little bit of extra space. So for me personally, the way I like to wear my boots is with pretty much no extra space, but I still don't want my toes to be kind of jammed up against the front. Once upon a time, that is how I actually used to wear my boots, but I don't really do that anymore. Again, it's a comfort thing, it's a personal preference thing, but I would say leave as little space at the end as you can while still being comfortable. Hey Jordan, will football boot manufacturers ever design car-inspired boots? This is a question that I've been getting a lot since I started the Car Problems channel, and it's not a matter of will brands do this, it's a matter of they've actually done it already. So a number of years ago, and I believe there's actually a video of these up on the channel, Puma did a limited edition V-Series boot in collaboration with Ferrari. Obviously, the two brands are very kind of tied together in terms of Scuderia Ferrari merchandise. And then more recently, Adidas with Porsche. I just recently learned on the car channel that some people do get very triggered when you don't say Porsche. So it was a Porsche design Adidas football boot, not very good looking in my opinion, and honestly not a very good pair of football boots, but they released in very limited quantities, pretty expensive as well. And I believe there is also a review of those on the channel. I'm pretty sure there was at least 1 or 2 other ones that I'm not thinking of. But yeah, this type of thing has been done. There have been collaborations between car brands and football boot brands. Should you wear leather boots on a rainy day? As long as they have ACC. More seriously, I think the answer to this question is yes. And actually, my personal preference when playing in wet weather is to actually play in leather football boots. And I think for those that don't know, the reason why he's asking this question is leather has this, I guess, reputation of absorbing a ton of water and the boots feeling really heavy when you play in wet weather conditions, which once upon a time in the earlier days of, I guess, football boot technology, where leather boots were pretty much all the football boots, they did absorb a ton of water. This is going to happen if you wear a classic pair of Copa Mundials. But when you're talking about the more recent leather football boots that have come out in the last 10 years or so, that's not as significant an issue as it used to be with the more old school stuff. So yes, leather will technically absorb a little bit more water and or moisture than a synthetic upper or a knitted upper will, but compared to how it used to be, it's really not a big deal. And for me, I just find that leather boots having that little bit of padding, it helps to take the edge off when kind of making contact with the ball and trying to control the ball when the surface of the ball as well as the boots can be a little bit slippery. Again, it's a personal preference thing. I'm not saying that leather boots are going to improve your control in the rain or something like that, but for me, it is what I like to do and what I feel most comfortable playing in. Anyways, guys, that's it for another Q&A. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you have a question that you'd like me to potentially answer in a future episode, go follow me on Instagram, SR4U_Josh. It's the first link down below. If you have any questions regarding any of the topics that I talked about in this video or any answers of your own, feel free to leave all of that down below in the comment section. If you aren't subscribed to the channel already and don't want to miss out on new videos every single week on all the latest and greatest football boots, don't forget to hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification. If you aren't following me on social media, all of that's linked down below as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.